Hi my dear students, today I am going to have the last session on this series of classes for the preparation of board examination class 10 standard science. So we are going to start with the fourth chapter, carbon and its compound. Before entering into the chapter, first have a glance at chemical reactions and equation chapter. What we have completed initially, we had taken 10 points, and acid, bases and salts, we had nearly 10 points from that chapter too, and we focused mainly upon reasoning questions from pH in everyday life, and we also had session on this particular chemical properties of acids and bases, and some salts also we have learned. And next we started with metals and non-metal, wherein we concentrated based upon differences, chemical properties of metals and non-metal, corrosion, ionic bonding, how the ionic bonding showcase different properties, how to prevent the corrosion process, what are alloys, and some examples of alloys, the process of anodizing, enrichment of ore, thermite reaction, refining of metals, and another preventive measures, that is galvanization. And remember, galvanization is done for steel and iron metals. Supposedly in MCQ if they ask, you should be able to identify the one which the method which is used to prevent iron metals by undergoing rusting, which is the most suitable method. If they ask, you can put forward galvanization. Today we are going to start the final chapter for your board examination preparation, that is carbon and its compounds. First we will remember, this particular material will be only useful if you have already covered the chapter from the textbook as well from the notes or reference books, and this is only for the revision purpose. Don't completely dependent on these materials directly. The first one, versatile nature of carbon. As you know, carbon exhibits versatility because of its two property. One is tetravalency, other one is catenation. Tetravalency is having 4 valence electron in the outermost shell. Catenation is ability to bind with same type of elements again and again, repeated number of times. Carbon is the most catenated element. Silicon is the second most catenated element. Tetravalency is showcased by all the 14 group elements which will be having 4 electrons in the valence shell. Next one, allotropy. In the allotropy we have diamond and graphite, which and as well as fullerenes. These three allotropes are having same chemical composition but different physical properties. They may ask you to distinguish between diamond and graphite. Diamond are rigid, three-dimensional, thermally stable, insulators, and possess sp3 hybrid geometrical structure, tetrahedral, and they are saturated. That means all the carbon atoms are binded with single covalent bonds. Whereas graphite will be brittle, layered structure, thermally stable, it will be conductor because it has got free electron which transfers from layer to layer, due to which it's a good conductor of electricity, and it possesses sp2 partially hybridized geometry, in which it may be taken as unsaturated. So next one, the fullerenes are actually identified by Buckminster Fuller, which is having football or saucer balls like structure it will be possessing. The next one, organic compounds. Organic compounds first was identified that they are actually formed because of vital force, but later Friedrich Huller synthesizes urea by the help of ammonium cyanate, and he changes the idea or notion of vital force theory, and he also explains that the organic compounds may be prepared in the laboratory also, not only from the organic sources. And these organic compounds may be divided into two types. One is saturated, other one is unsaturated. Saturated are generally those in which carbon and carbon has got single covalent bonds. Unsaturated will be possessing double or triple covalent bonds. Saturated will be always burning with blue color flame, and it will be non-sooty flame, whereas unsaturated will burn with sooty flame, and it will be yellow or reddish color flame which they will be burning with. Saturated may be giving negative test for bromine water test and Bayer's test. The Bayer's test means 1% KMnO4, potassium permanganate test, whereas unsaturated compounds will give positive Bayer's test, that is KMnO4 potassium permanganate, they will give positive, as well bromine water they will decolorize. That's how we can distinguish between saturated and unsaturated. And remember, the carbon and carbon, if it is having single bond, they are saturated. Carbon and carbon, double or triple bond, then only it is unsaturated. You should not be confused. When carbon and oxygen is given double bond, they are not unsaturated. We should only find out the bonding between carbon and carbon only. The next one, nomenclature. In the nomenclature of organic compounds, we have linear chain, ring chain, as well as branched chain compounds, wherein you will be given to identify the name of the compounds. For naming the compounds, you can use prefix, root word and suffix. Prefixes may be the substituent group, like if one carbon containing group is there, methyl, 2 is there ethyl, 3 is there propyl. Halogen groups will be also called as functional groups, will be written always in the prefixes, like haloalkane, chloroalkane, fluoroalkane, bromoalkane, iodoalkane, like that. And cyclic or ring chain also will possess prefixes, like cyclopropane, cyclobutane, cyclopentane, cyclohexane, like that. Remember, benzene is one in which we will not be using prefix. Benzene will be C6H6 molecular formula, which is having cyclic chain but alternate single and double bond inside. And the root word are the parental chain compounds which are having highest number of carbon atoms or the longest chain of carbon atom. They are taken as root word. For 1 carbon meth, 2 carbon eth, 3 carbon prop, 4 carbon but, 5 carbon pent, 6 carbon hex, like that. Remember, at least till 6 carbon atom containing longest chains. And the suffixes will always be taken from functional groups only. Then what are these functional groups? Functional groups are atoms or group of atoms which will be giving a certain chemical properties to the compound. They are called as functional groups. Like we have alkane, alkene, alkyne, alcohol, ketone, aldehyde, carboxylic acids, halogens, and they can be identified based upon their molecular formulas also. Like alkane, CnH2n plus 2, alkene, CnH2n, alkyne, CnH2n minus 2, and alcohol, if supposedly they have given you ethanol, C2H6O they will give, or C2H5OH, either way they can give you. So that time you should be able to identify if alkane general formula plus oxygen is there, that is alcohol. If alkene general molecular formula plus oxygen, there may be aldehydes or ketones. If alkene general molecular formula plus 2 oxygen atoms, then it is carboxylic acids. Then if it is halogen group is there, then it will be RX. Like that you can able to identify them. The suffixes what we add for alcohol is OL, for ketone ONE, for aldehyde AL, for carboxylic acid oic acid, for halogens HALO in the prefix. Remember, halogen is the only one which will be added in prefix here, rest all of them are added in the suffix. And another important thing, how to distinguish between aldehyde and ketone. Aldehyde will be always existed in the terminal carbon, whereas ketone will be there in between the 2 carbon atoms. Aldehyde will possess one side carbon double bonded with oxygen, one side should be hydrogen compulsorily, whereas ketone will be having both the sides, the carbon connected with carbonyl group, that is C double bond O, either side it will be having carbon atoms, that is ketone. And then next important concept here is homologous series. All these functional group, when we have written with the increasing order of 1 carbon atoms, they will be having CS2 group as the difference, and they can be identified with the chemical properties what they exhibit or physical properties what they exhibit. The properties or characteristics of homologous series are, there will be one thing, they will be differing by CS2 group with the molecular formula, that is 14 unified mass. And second thing is, they have same chemical properties but different physical properties of them. The physical properties may vary little bit. The like boiling point and melting point will always increases with the increase in molecular mass, and that can be directly attributed to their density, their other physical properties also. And one other important thing is, they all shall belong to same functional group. Like they are 2 different functional group containing cannot be told as homologous series. If supposedly I am taking alkane, methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, they are all belonging to the homologous series. The next important concept in this is chemical properties. The chemical properties, there are 4: combustion, addition, substitution, oxidation. In this concept, you remember one example for each as well. Also remember what is the reagent or catalyst we are going to use in the process to takes place. Like first one, combustion. Natural gas reacted with oxygen, that is methane is the natural gas, O2. After heating it will give CO2, H2O and heat. And addition reaction, all the unsaturated hydrocarbon may be converted into saturated. It is also used in preparation of vanaspati ghee, wherein hydrogen is added in the presence of nickel or palladium or platinum. Either of the one catalyst may be used. And remember, for converting unsaturated to saturated we use addition reaction. And the substitution reaction, when natural gas is made to expose with chlorine molecule under the sunlight or energy, it will convert into chlorinated methyl group. The chlorinated methyl group will be formed, and as well one acid will be released as a byproduct here. Since HCl is gaseous molecule, it will be removed from the mixture immediately. And this reaction will not stop, it will goes on continuing with the help of free radical mechanism in the substitution reaction. We may get it until carbon, all the hydrogen atoms are substituted with chlorine, the reaction will proceed. Like that means we will be getting carbon tetrachloride in the last final product. The next one is oxidation. Oxidation reaction in which ethanol is converted into ethanoic acid. It will be done in the presence of oxidizing agent, that is either alkaline KMnO4 or acidified potassium dichromate. Another important concept here is the important compounds of alcohol as well as carboxylic acids. One important compound of alcohol is ethanol. Ethanol is actually acidic by nature, that can be proved by making it to react with sodium metal or sodium hydroxide. In both the cases it will give out the hydrogen gas getting released, and in the case of sodium hydroxide it will produces water and salt it will be producing. And boiling point of ethanol is 78 degrees Celsius. It exhibits esterification test, but remember ethanol will give negative test for carbonate and bicarbonate reactions. It will not react at all. And another important thing is, because of its commercial importance, this particular ethanol will be misused by so many people, and also it is edible in nature, due to which, to avoid this stealing or this particular ethanol, what commercially people will do is they will denature this. So denaturation of spirit will be done by addition of dyes or colors. And the last one is the methanol as the another important compound under alcohols. Methanol is also well known as wood spirit. Ethanol is known as commercial spirit. So when methanol is like instead of ethanol, if the person swallows methanol, it will directly oxidize the liver and it will convert into methanol. And methanol, it will coagulate all the protoplasm present in the liver, and it will cease the person's biochemical activity. And another important thing is the person one who intake methanol may even die also. So that's why this methanol consumption is prohibited. And another important problem with methanol is it will affect the optic nerve when it is consumed, and may even lead into blindness of the person. Another important compound here is ethanoic acid, which belongs to carboxylic acid family, and it showcases acidic nature. That means whenever it is made to react with metal, it produces hydrogen gas and salt, and at the base it will give out salt and water. And it will also show esterification. It will also show saponification, which is like when we take sodium acetate or sodium salts of esters, or this particular compound will be used to prepare back the soaps, like long chain fatty acids of sodium and potassium can be prepared out of this. And this gives positive test with carbonate and bicarbonate by giving brisk effervescence with hydrogen, sodium carbonates or sodium bicarbonates. And another important concept here we need to focus is isomerism. Isomerism means having same molecular formula but different structural formulas. So for this, what you are going to do is you first follow up the homologous series and practice 4 carbon containing or 5 carbon containing alkane and alkene for your reference. You can practice isomeric structures of pentane, butane and butene, pentene. At least 2 structures has to be learned for individual. The questions will be directly asked, what is isomerism? Write the isomeric write 2 isomeric structures of butane or pentane, like that they will give you. The last concept in this chapter is soaps and detergents. When it comes to soaps and detergents, you should be able to first define what is soaps. Soaps are sodium or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. A suitable example is sodium stearate. which will be C17H35COONA. And soaps will be possessing two part. One is hydrophilic part, which is made up of cations, hydrophobic part, which is made up of anion. Hydrophobic is water repelling or water hating, hydrophilic is water loving or water attracting. So this water attracting, what it will do is, when it is put into water, it will make a sheath or protective layer for the hydrophobic part. The hydrophobic part goes and attacks the dirt or oil or grease which is present on the cloth, and it will remove that stain by making the cleansing action. And sometime if the water is not soft water, if it is hard water, it will be constituting calcium or magnesium ions. In such kind of cases, double displacement reaction takes place between soap and hard water, and they may form insoluble residue which is called as scum in the soap water. So that scum will be insoluble and it will make the soap wastage. So to avoid this, we started preparing detergents. Detergents are those particular compounds which will be made up of sodium or potassium salts of sulfonic acids or ammonium salts, which are having chloride or bromide as the counterparts. And these generally used in shampoos as well. It can be totally benefited in hard water usage. And these particular soaps or detergents, when they are put into water, they forms micelle. The micelle formation is another important concept what you need to know. These are all colloidal aggregates of salts of fatty acids. So these are the colloidal aggregates what we are having. The structure writing also you should be knowing. The hydrophilic part makes the outer protective layer which is called a sheath, and the hydrophobic part goes to the inner layer, attacks the stain or dirt which is present in the substance. So this covers the whole chapter, the carbonated compound. And lastly, you need to focus, another important part of this chapter is like the boxes which are given in the textbook. Those yellow or orange colored boxes, once you go through and solve all the in-text questions which are given in the textbook, and then be thorough with the subject. So by this, I am closing the session on chemistry for class 10th standard CBSE board examination. I hope all the 4 videos are most helpful for your preparation. All the best for your exam. Thank you.